Okay, so over here I have a butterfly photo. I have a large sheet of paper and I have a tile that's been left over from lino printing. This was my ink plate, and I'm going to show you how to do another form of printing called monoprinting. So monoprint means one print. So you can get just the one print from a tile that has a light film of ink on it. So I'm going to start off by drawing my butterfly here, as you can see. So I have my 6 basic shapes put out on top of my page to remind me for my looking and responding. So I'm going to start off by looking at the head of the butterfly, and I can see a circle, an oval, another oval shape like so. I can see the wing shapes are sort of semi-triangle, semi-oval, like so. And I'm trying to get the wings symmetrical, so I'm going to use my pencil to measure how that is, and I'm just marking out on a little page a symmetrical grid so that I can get the shape of my wings the same on both sides, or similarly sized and shaped. Now I think that the bottom wings are uneven, so I'm going to try and change that. Now, okay, so I'm just drawing in the orange shapes that I see here on the wing of the butterfly. Now it's important to try and get the shapes as accurately as you can from your reference. But don't worry if it's not exact. You want it to look as close as you can. So I'm just looking at all of the shapes here. Okay, and again, now I also can see that there's a flower here and there's leaves and things, but I might change my design from what I see, and I'm going to arrange some leaves going around the edges. And again, the ink that I'm using is the same as the block printing ink. It is important that you use ink, and a sticky ink, not a light ink or paint. Paint does not work for this. You may read on blogs and other places where people have put some paint on a surface to take a print off of it, and regular acrylic or poster paints do not work. They dry too fast, the paint body is too light. Perhaps you may You might get a monoprint if you use some oil paint, but that will not be child safe. So I would recommend that if you are trying to do a monoprint, that you will only use ink for block printing, because otherwise it won't work. So now I have my monoprint design done out. I have my reference photo, so I'm going to leave that to one side here, and I have 2 sheets of paper the same size, like so. I have drawn a square shape here, which was a trace out from the tile that I have here. Now, like so, I'm going to use some masking tape to tape my 2 sheets of paper together so that they are square. Like so. Okay, and then I am going to position my tile like so. Now, you want to use your brayer to roll the ink out evenly across your tile. And as you can hear, there's very little ink on my tile at the moment because you couldn't hear the tacky sound. And I'm going to use a sheet of newspaper to blot any excess ink off of the tile. That is very important. So I'm burnishing it off like this, and I have already blotted this tile 5 or 6 times to make sure that it has very little ink left on it. And as you can see, it's taking an amount of ink away still. That's a good result, I feel. So I don't think I'm going to blot that anymore. So what I'm going to now do is get my sheet of paper, and I am going to position it. Perhaps I'll fold an edge a little bit there and here, where that folded edge will give me a corner to work with, so I can register the paper like so. Now, that sheet of paper and my drawing, because they're taped together, they're not going to wiggle around, they're not going to move. And now I'm going to tape them to the table to prevent my print from moving further. Okay, and now what I'm going to do now is I'm going to draw again over my drawings. Now, I'm trying not to lean my hand on the page, as the pressure from my hand will actually leave a trace on my monoprint. Now, what I'm going to do now, I'm still looking and responding to my original drawing. And you can see here I am outlining everything. Like so. So you can see how the line is getting transferred. So I'm going to start shading in the black areas on the butterfly, like so. Sharpen my pencil again. So Monoprint will give you 2 strands on your curriculum, which will be both drawing and printing, which is very good because it'll give you both products. And you're using shade to value in whatever you're drawing. You can also use some texturing to add value to whatever you're drawing. Okay, so I'm going to check that now and see how that's looking. And you can see here how my Monoprint is coming out and it's looking really good. So that's great. You can also use very soft lines to create different textures when you're shading in your Monoprint, if you wish. It doesn't take very much pressure at all to leave a mark for the ink if you have it inked properly. If you blot away too much ink, you won't get a good result as well. So it's very important to work in a way where you know where you've drawn. That's why I'm leaning hard enough here. You can also, if you want, add in a few extra details like so. Let's try and use a finger then to kind of see how that's gonna work when we try and do our background. You can see that's darkened my background a little bit there as well. And you can be creative in the different leaf shapes if you want. And you could do different patterns and different effects there too. So when I'm done with my monoprint, I will have both the drawing and the print. Monoprint is a good one if you have a small class as well, because it will be prohibitive if you have if you don't have enough kind of tiles for everyone to work on. You could also laminate some sheets of paper, like an A3 sheet of paper laminated would give you a good surface to monoprint off of as well. But if you lean very hard on the laminate, the lines will sort of indent the plastic and you won't get very many prints off it. So you are much better with a hard surface like a tile. So I think I've done everywhere now on my monoprint. So you can see here, I have my picture. You can see how the ink has come off of the block and transferred onto the page, like so. I might shade a little bit more onto my butterflies antennae and do them a little bit more detailed. I could also, I'm going to lean a little bit harder to try and create a sense of three dimensions by adding an extra deeper shade along the side of the body of the butterfly. And let's see how that's worked out. Not very well because the ink hasn't really transferred. It's taken off the plate, but it hasn't transferred well onto the block or onto my monoprint. I could maybe, I've this graphite stick here, which is a much broader, thicker piece of graphite. Maybe if I use that on my leaf details on some of them, it might give a nice interesting mark and transfer nicely. So I'm just making a zigzag mark with this now on top of the lines that I created. Like so. Let's see how that looks now. Yeah, that's quite nice. Okay, so I'm ready now to take my plate away, my ink tray. And I'm just going to leave that to one side. And I am going to untape my monoprint. And you can see here that I have a nice monoprint and a drawing as well. And you can see that the drawing and the monoprint are, again, they're mirror images of each other. If we note, this leaf here is on the right hand side of the print, but it's on the left hand side of the drawing. So these are exact mirror images of each other. And it's just a nice way to introduce pupils to monoprint and imprinting and printmaking and the whole process. So it would link with both print and it will link with drawing, and it creates a nice educational tie between the two of them. So best of luck creating your monoprints. See you soon. Take care. Bye.